Glory, glory, hallelujah, dear friends. What a great day to be alive. What a great day to put our whole attention on the truth. And what a great opportunity it is to do it with each other. Remember, we are a we. We are never alone. Let's just take this thing a breath at a time this morning, the here and the now. Because if we forget the divine, we are in major super critical condition. So we'll start with that little song, okay? But first, close your eyes. I know your hearts are already open. I know your heart is crying out for something. More than likely, it might be for something that's happened in the outer world. But you being yogis and yoginis who have practiced over and over again, purifying that heart and transmuting whatever's going on as emotion and upset, worry, and fear in that heart center and troubles. You are getting better and better. And now turning that heart to the divine and yearning with everything you have for a connection, for a deep connection between your heart and the source of you, between your heart and that one beloved of all of us. And that connects each of our hearts together. So we are a we as we receive this morning and share, receive and share. We're in supercritical condition when we forget the divine. We're in supercritical condition when we forget the divine. So we need CPR, core purpose resuscitation. We need CPR, core purpose resuscitation. And we need it really bad. We need it all the time. So place your hands on your heart and wake your soul back up. We're in super critical condition when we forget the divine. We're in super critical condition when we forget the divine. So we need CPR, core purpose resuscitation. We need CPR, core purpose resuscitation. And we need it really bad. And we need it all the time. So place your hands on your heart and wake the bleep back up and wake your soul back up. Oh, blessed soul. Oh, Heavenly Father, Mother, friend, beloved God, great masters, our ancestors, all the angels, every bit of that, whoever is a part of the light, the divine light, whoever is a servant of the divine, please come to our rescue right now. Come to our aid right now. We have forgotten the urgency of the here and the now and each moment, each breath, to remember you, to receive your love and to give our love. Please grant us that grace that we may know how urgent it is to be in this present moment with you right now. We thank you in advance that this is so. We thank you that it is so. And we lower our chin and bow our heads. And we become open receivers for all your blessings right now. Om, peace. Amen. All right. We have a major download of truth and wisdom, as always, this morning. And I am just delighted that we are a we, because as we can hold the space together, you know what I love to do most in the workshops over the years that I did it at yoga studios and at the Soul of Yoga, and was that we would take a little break and we'd all stand in a holding with our hands on someone else's shoulders, and there were hands on my shoulders, let's say, and then hands on that person's shoulders, and we just gave massage. We just gave massage. This morning, I give my doodles always massages, and I just let God love them, and I love them, and at the same time, I just feel the divine hand giving me that same soothing, comforting love, man, that I so desperately need. That's another urgency that we have. We all need love really, really bad, right? So just feel that feel that we're in a circle of love, and it includes the whole world, and every being is being loved by the great love through all of our open hearts, because we are not forgetting the purpose of this existence, right? The purpose of the and that and everything we say, and the truth and realization, any way you want to look at awakening, it all depends on just this breath in this moment in my heart with my beloved. In just this breath in this moment in my heart with my beloved. In just this breath in this moment in my heart with my beloved. In my heart. And everyone goes, with my beloved in my heart, with my beloved in my heart, with my beloved. In just this breath, in this moment, in my heart, with the beloved, here and now. All right. I want that to be your every breath here in this class today, so that something can be taken over, the after effects and the lift up and the grace, and the every time we come together, we're especially blessed for coming together in the name of the truth, in the holy name, right? You know how it feels that we really have just a brand new start today. All right. you know and then I want to read something from Jesus Calling. But if you find yourself, and who doesn't, if we're more mortal, if we are in the human state, um really maybe being totally overwhelmed today, just another day really, and the world, and the lower Dwapara Yuga and all that stuff, it adds up, doesn't it? And but every time we fall prey to that and we feel its weight, what has happened is that we forgot to be in this breath, in this moment, in our heart with the beloved, because it's impossible for us to be pulled down if we are in this moment, in this breath, in our heart, sincerely, truly, urgently, madly, deeply, and receiving God's help and giving our love and praying your guts out for help. It'd be impossible to slip. It'd be impossible to feel the crud. All right. So when we feel the crud, know that we haven't yet been beaten down enough, I guess, to know that this is totally a sham here. I have a nice quote on that coming up. It's over and over, on this teachings anyway. All right. So this is, again, I want this to be our theme for today, and I want it to start right now. And this is from the Jesus Calling of maybe just really soon, just recently. And it hits the nail, as always, right on the head. It starts uh, it starts by saying, you are on the path of my choosing. So as you sit there right there, could you please acknowledge inwardly that where you're at in life, the stuff you're going through, the emotions, the fears, the worries, the some joy here and there and whatever in your plans, could you please know that you are on the path that is being guided by a legion of angels, let's say. All right. So relax. There's nothing wrong. You didn't mess up. You didn't make the wrong move at the wrong time. You're right where you need to be right now. There is no randomness about your life, my dears. Here and now, however, here and now. Great little breathing exercises. Here, now. Inhale, here, now. And then open your heart to the divine. But just put yourself here, now. Inhale here, exhale now, right? Here and now comprise the coordinates of your daily life. You don't need to know what happened yesterday. The goldfish is one of the happiest fish in the ocean. Why? Because it only has a memory for 10 seconds. I heard that from the top golfer in the number one in the world. After he lost just short, by a few strokes in a tournament recently, he said he just loves the goldfish because he has to forget what just happened, right? So we don't want to have anything affecting us from the past, and no worries for the future, right? Because there's just the here and the now. Then the coordinates for a happy day is here and now today. Most people let their moments slip through their fingers half-lived. They avoid the present by worrying about the future or longing for a better time and place. They forget that they are creatures who are subject to the limitations of time and space. They forget their creator who walks with them only in the present. This is the line. Every moment is alive with my glorious presence. Every moment, just this breath, in this moment, in my heart, is alive with my glorious presence to those whose hearts are intimately connected with mine. Whose hearts are intimately connected with mine. That moment is alive with his glorious presence, the loving presence. As you give yourself more and more to a life of constant communion with me, of these moments here and now, with your hearts intimately connected with the beloved, right? Moment. If you miss this moment of connecting your heart intimately to the divine, you're lost because your mind is off somewhere else. We've got to come back again and again to the here and now, and just this breath in this moment in my heart, with my beloved in my heart, with my beloved. Hear that chorus going. Please hear it going. Feel your heartbeat in tune with that. Feel every cell of your body awake to this. Feel that this is the day of days. This is the moment of moments, okay? As you give yourself more and more to a life of constant communion with me, you will find that you simply have no time for worry. Thus, you have no time for worry. Imagine that. Seems like we have all the time to worry, don't we? And that means we have no time for God. So if we have no time for worry, we're with the beloved in this case. You will find that simply you have no time for worry. Thus, you are freed to let my spirit direct your steps. You are freed to feel my presence. You are freed to be happy. You are freed to know that you are perfect just as you are, and that you don't have to give it a second more attention that something is not right with you, whether that be something physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, whatever, or with anybody else. Thus, you are free to let my spirit direct your steps, enabling you to walk along the path of peace. All right, this just come in, and I got to read you this because this is our good buddy. We haven't talked about him. Emmanuel Swedenborg. We haven't talked about him for a while, but boy, I want you to feel like you're in that circle of love, and we're all got hands and giving metta massage, which is compassion massage, heart to heart massage, soul to soul massage, and we're in that circle. And now listen to what he says. Sometimes a whole angelic community appears as a single entity in the form of an angel. He's talking about the heaven worlds, okay? A sight that the Lord has allowed me to see. And then there's a little comment here. Maybe you have had experience of working intently on something with a team of people who have shared love for the mission of a project, right? You've all been in sync with a team that's just all on fire. And this team, the soul team, right? This little Gita squadron of impassioned souls for freedom and liberation, not messing around, right? So you've been in a team of people who've shared love for a mission or project. Even though you are different individuals with different strengths and skills and roles, the unity of purpose bonds you together. In heaven, that unity of purpose is very clearly felt and even seen. A whole community of angels can sometimes appear to others as a single angel, a representation of the fact that they are all part of one larger effort. You see, you might think you're just you today, alone again, lonely again, wherever you're living, depressed again. But no, you have a whole community of these impassioned lovers of love on the planet, not to mention we are just a few here, a precious few, that have you covered, baby. And because you're not an individual, you're a we. You're always surrounded by God's help and God's helpers. And then Swedenborg gives an example of the amazing pillar of the fire that led the Israelites on their journey in the book of Exodus. That pillar is called the angel of God in Exodus 14:19, if some of you want to look it up. And yet Swedenborg learned that it was composed of many angels. It wasn't just one angel. They call it an angel of God, but it was composed of many angels. It was an angelic community working on behalf of God to guide and protect these people. So as you get your shoulder massage and your heart tuned up and all of your worries and fears just scattered to the winds with all this grace descending upon an immortal soul, which you are through and through 100%, and everything else is completely unreal and asat, not truth. We also have angels guiding, protecting, and inspiring us who are part of a whole community. So your guardian angel is a part of a whole community of amazing lovers of God, angels, as a matter of fact, that loves to do so. Every angel that helps you represents a whole loving community that is part of your life. Got it. I had to give you this intro this morning because it's too easy for us to still be out there somewhere. Again, we will be battered, shattered, disillusioned, heartbroken. You can go on and on, devastated, bereaved, until we have finally surrendered it all, my dears, and realize that it is futile here. Futile. No matter how so-called okay you think you are, fine, right? And there's a little saying in AA about what fine means. Maybe the Clarks can put it up here. But you're gonna, without the consciousness of God here and now, in this moment, in my heart, we miss the point completely, and we are going to be devastated again and again. But let that happen again and again until you have no other recourse but to just say, Lord, I can only be in this moment with you, crying, yearning, feeling your presence, giving your love. Because every time I do, I feel better and better and better. But as soon as I don't, I feel like hell. When I do, I feel like heaven. Okay? So this is our Satya Yuga consciousness. This is why we've come back to even the yamas and the niyamas and the Pandu brothers that live in each chakra and the divinity that's there in these chakras and our steps. This is why we've been huddling around here, because we ain't going nowhere unless we really get hunkered in that which is changeless, that which we can hold in our consciousness as easily as we do a little duty that we've done in brushing our teeth, and it's just automatic. We're going to be automatically into with the divinity that we are, free to be, free to be happy, free to just share, let God share everything through us. We are just perfect little conduits. We're just a hole in a flute. That's all we are. We're just a hole in a flute. That's all we are. That the breath of Christ moves through. Oh, yes, it does. This is Hafiz. That the breath of Christ moves through. So listen, listen, listen to this music. Listen to this music of my soul. Listen, listen, and you let it ooze out of you, and you are doing nothing. You have disappeared. You have become transparent. You are perfect soul. There's no longer you who you think you are right now, who you are. You are pretending to be and in being faked out and diluted every single time. Okay. Yeah, touch is my love language. Through our hands, we project our hearts. Not ing. I know. There she is. There you go. I want Ryan behind my shoulders. We'll take turns. We'll all get the best of the best. But guess what? With God working through your hands, we're getting the best all the time. With God working through you, everyone's getting the best through you. All right. All right. But as soon as we think we're doing something, it all falls apart. So we finished our descent, and we were talking how last week about spent some time with the niyamas, huh? And that surrender to Divine Mother, and those other beautiful contentments, and just that purity, and that tapas to stay in her hug, and that gathering the wisdom and reaching even higher for more wisdom and contain it in our heart, because we don't leave the presence. We don't leave that nugget just sitting there, outside of ourselves, but we brought it into our heart so we can consume this truth as deep as we possibly can. And that's what happens automatically when we can be in just this breath, in this moment, in our hearts with the beloved. Inhale breath is the perfect way to feel that reception of that love, and the exhale is just a perfect design to give our love to God. The inhale breath also hong and saw or so hum, and those who are witnessing their breath in that technique where you just silently watch the inhale, don't force it, nothing, and you say hong, for example, and then as it goes out, saw means I am he. So every time you breathe, the breath has a significant uh, vibration to it that Yogananda said means I am he, or I am spirit, I am you. Every time you breathe. So come on, we ought to make that reception of breath. It can be very, very, when restless, it can be the doorway to hell. When it's calming down, it can be the doorway into the pearly gates, okay? So we got to become very, 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 very concentrated on the breath now as a liberator, right? And it just brings us to this present moment, brings up our devotion. It brings us into this communion of our hearts and intimate connection with the loving presence, right? That's the, and then all of a sudden you go breathless, my dears. And then you realize that you are immortal, right? You don't need anything. You don't need anything. We say source, because source is us, and we are source, right? It's just, that's the essence of everything. So hold on to the Satya Yuga consciousness with dear life. And we'll kind of sum up with it that, we still on those verses, I think 20 to 22 of chapter 8. Then there's a few verses after that. And then we start a section that we're just going to be able to reiterate everything that we've done. Because it's going to talk about the fire of this, your consciousness being put on the divine, or it's the forgetfulness again, and what life looks like for that. So it's just a black and white choose, right? Here we go. And then we're going to have a clear idea of what we're choosing, because we're practicing more than ever. And then when we come together, it gets renewed, refreshed, right? Even and you don't even have to know how, why, what. Just keep on loving, baby. So this is from a lesson which was conscious evolution. Progressive states of spiritual evolution, or we could say progressive states of spiritual awakening. Wake up, put your hands on your heart, and wake the soul back up. Pump, wake the soul back up. Wake up, wake up. Let's get this. Let's beat what we're supposed to be doing down here, right? Totally fixated on the divine presence, totally fixated on what's happening in reality, not the unreality, right? And to hold that consciousness, and then just let it just vibe off of us into everybody. You don't have to know how, what, why on that either. Just let it, just be it, kids. Just be it. Just be it. You know, receive it, believe it, be it, breathe it, receive it, be it, believe it, receive it, breathe it, be it. Okay, so Yogananda says scientists studying evolution concentrate on the material structure of the body, not on the soul that lies hidden within it. Spiritual science, yoga, includes not only physical development, but soul progress as well. Human evolution, as used in the context of this lesson, deals with the steps and the required time by which the human organism, in both its physical and inner aspects, reaches perfection, soul realization, oneness with the infinite spirit bliss, as follows. Number one, we, humanity, man, woman, evolves through the progressive awakening of intuition. The progressive awakening of intuition, which can only come when we have this heart is quiet, everything is still. We are consciously receptive. We are consciously yearning to be in this present moment. We are consciously wanting only one goal, you, my Lord, you, my love, right? First love. Man evolves and woman through the progressive awakening of intuition that accompanies unfolding of the five koshas. The five koshas are this term that we have served for millions of years in all forms of life, starting with the rocks, the inert matter. And there's five sheaths, they're called. And there's the, being in a rock for who knows how many millions of years. And then you evolved to the plant. It's like get your little pet rock, get your little rock that is your little, you can hold it, the love rock, right? Or the peace rock, right? Hold it in your hand and then get a little flower or look at a flower, all right? Because you were that rock. And then the flower, this may give you a new tenderness for the life, the soul life in everything, because everything is a soul, everything is spirit. And then so we evolved out of the plant to the animal. Then, of course, I got two animals and I love them, like I mentioned earlier. All right. So you have all the things that you've been for millions of years, right? And then after the animal, human being, but not necessarily an awakened human being, a human being that's totally trapped in this delusion, no fault of yours. All right. Is God's plan. So you pull off that sheet. So we're pulling off the sheets. We're out of the rock. We're not a rock, right? We're not a flower, right? We're not an animal, although we can behave like one, right? And we're human, right? But now we're trying to take off that human personality and that human addiction and the senses that go crazy and the desires for the restlessness of this outer world. And we want to pull that sheath off. And then we have what? The final sheath or kosha, and that is the one that completely puts you back into your original state, the immortal soul, the blissful, immortal, undying, also called the Immortal Witness, also called I Am Ever the Same, as I mentioned. That devotee that Yogananda has his picture in this beautiful Anandamoyi Ma, she just kept saying, I am the same, I am the same. We got something about that today, or when we get to it, right? I am the same, ever the same. I called this dreams morning, I am forever the same. I am forever. I like the word forever, but you can keep it short, say I am the same, but forever, I'm forever the same. And what is that? Bliss, joy. I've always been, always will be. I am that now. So we pull off all those sheaths, all right? So we evolve through the progressive awakening of intuition that accompanies, first off, the unfolding of the five koshas that I just mentioned, ultimately completing the evolutionary journey of millions of incarnations in lower forms by achieving reunion with spirit. What? See, we really lack a perspective, man. We got to keep finding perspective on everything and keep climbing with that perspective, right? We get so caught up in today, and now there's a writer's strike. Trish just told me, of course, we're around the studios, so it means a lot to the people that have jobs. Yeah, the caterer that does all the foods for the actors and movies. He was talking the other day, and he said, "Yeah, I'm really, I can't. I hope that doesn't happen because it's my livelihood." But anyway, so that world, um, part of the millions too of us staying as a human, in delusion. So come on, let's get perspective on things. Do you know how VIP you are? Very, very important presence in you, very important presence in you, and how valuable this life is, regardless of your outer circumstances, married, not married, business person, successful, a failure, doesn't matter. You're not here for any outer anything. You're here for this inner intimacy in a breath at a time with the divine beloved. Do you see that this is your only responsibility now? Do it, because otherwise you're going to be in a mood for too long. And it's going to be the same mood that hangs over to you're going to have a hangover every day. Unless we get busy now and take advantage of this golden opportunity we have, my dears. Of course, I've been screaming this for a long time, right? There are not many folks interested in it, really. Man alone, woman alone, of all forms of creation, has the ability to unfold all of these sheaths, perceiving now his or her angelic astral body of light and energy. We alone, the human, man and woman, have that ability, not only to unfold the sheaths, but now to perceive our angelic astral body, which has no disease, has not the problems that we have, has no bones to break. You don't breathe, they forget. There's never any talk that, hey, you won't be breathing in heaven. So let's see what we can do to really calm that breath. And then when you are deeply in love with God, you go breathless. Immortality is breathlessness, my dears. Yogananda talks about that endlessly. Everything about him is endless. All right. Perceiving our angelic astral body, then we perceive the causal body of consciousness and bliss. Our Satya Yuga consciousness. But it can't just be like, a thought of God here and there, right? Or go to church once a week. Or just have a thought of, what was that causal body thing again? What about the practice of? The causal consciousness is every one of our Satya Yuga practices. In those chakras, and you know the steps inside and out by now, right? And now it's what you put into it, baby. You got to put in that bliss if you want the bliss. You got to put in that joy and happiness and laughter, even when you don't want to be joyful and happy, right? You got to put in that I'm healthy. All my cells are shiny and bright. All my cells are dancing in the light, right? You got to put that in and believe it, whether you really are having a time, they will believe it or not. If you want to be yourself, capital S, you want to be that super soul, that superwoman, superman. So finally, that causal body of consciousness and bliss, and then freeing his and her soul to become one with God. Wow. Yoga, as described in the Bhagavad Gita, is the method through which this liberation can be attained. So that's one way we evolve, right there. That was point one. The second way, man and woman also evolve through the four castes. And not in the sense of heredity, social status, but in terms of the natural stages of soul development described in the Bhagavad Gita. So those castes is the Sudra, the low caste, right, which used to be outcast, pariah. And no one should go near anybody who's a Sudra, who's just basically, spiritually speaking, metaphysically speaking, that is someone who's just totally material minded, totally caught up in the senses, totally ignorance is bliss kind of thing, blind to the higher aspects of living, right? That's the Sudra class. That we can say is our root chakra. That is the thing that we now know we have the Sahadeva there, not to mention this power of restraint, that we don't have to be this low life anymore, right? We can do something about that. We have the power of no. We have the power of neti neti, not this, not that. We have the power of sacha. We have the power of not of remembrance. The soul's altar. I tend the sacred fire of constant remembrance of God, which takes care of this ahimsa, non-violence, right? Every time we forget God, it's violent agitation. It's horrible to forget God. Horrible. We're in super critical condition when we forget God, right? And then we have the brahmacharya where we're really trying to be pure, pure of mind and pure of heart, and be moderate in the expression of these five senses, so that at least we're moderating that. If you're young and single, Yogananda says, get busy to know God. Be celibate and get busy to know God. If you're married, use that force only to bring in children. All right, so that brahmachari can be a super, super great entryway into, having mastery over all your senses, Lord of your senses. It really is. All right. And then there's that's asteya, which is, we're going to say, is distilling the vibrations of the master's help over and over by being humble and asking for grace and help all the time. And then that coveting this moment, this breath that you can receive with your consciousness kind of in that astral part of you. That's just kind of turning to this heaven, this highest heaven, where every lover of love, every liberated being is in this state of, wave after wave of divine love. Yogananda said once, wave after wave of divine love is crashing on the shores of my heart. Wave after wave of divine love. Be a we now. Visualize this. This is our Satya Yuga consciousness practice. Crashing, crashing on the shores of our hearts. Wave after wave of divine love. Crashing, crashing on the shores of our hearts. Love keeps rolling, it keeps rolling eternally. Wave after wave of ecstasy. Love keeps rolling, it keeps rolling eternally. Wave after wave of ecstasy. We're hearts in ecstasy, ecstasy across the sea. Hearts in ecstasy, ecstasy, you and me. Hearts in ecstasy, ecstasy across the sea. We're hearts in ecstasy, ecstasy, you and me. You're in those higher chakras, Satya Yuga consciousnesses, man. That's what's happening. Go there, sing that mantra, sing that song. Become that. We're a we, all in bliss now. We don't have some people striking today. We don't have people rebelling and creating horrible things for themselves, their family. We don't have people that are more greedy than they were yesterday and people suffering worse than they were yesterday. We are hearts in ecstasy. What? Quit watching the toy show of this world, says Paramahansa Yogananda, for God's sake. You've got the wisdom now. Come on. So rebels. Oh my God. So we evolved through this four castes. So then you have the Sudra, okay? The Sahadeva at your first chakra, resisting now those temptations, resisting now those impulses, resisting the overindulgences in the five senses, right? And everything else. So you got that power there, all right? And then the caste is the is the householder, or the what is Vidya? Not Vidya, no. There's a Sanskrit word. I just can't, it doesn't come to my mind right now. But it's the second state, and it's basically that where we gather enough wisdom. It's gathering of enough discrimination in that second one, and those are the adherents. It relates to the second caste, is being a balanced householder, serving the world, remembering God, and raising a family on principle, right? And being a business, and being doing truthful business, right? And living by principle, and then we can call that wisdom. Second chakra, we put it in the swadhyaya, that self-contemplation. We're just going to gather the highest nuggets. We're not going to lay them aside for the rainy day. We're going to absorb the highest truths, and then the highest truths, and we're going to experience them eventually, the more we put our full attention and devotion on them through practice. Practice doesn't make perfect, my dears. Perfect practice makes perfect. I can't take claim to that. Vince Lombardi said that. A coach of the Packers back in the old days. All right. And then the third chakra, Arjuna. So this is the third, the spiritual warrior base. This is the Arjuna. Love conquers all. What do we do now? Love. Well, how are we going to get through this? We're going to love. What's the solution? Love. Love conquers all. Right here, right now, we're loving this, and we're still a we. We're an army of Kshatriya warrior devotees, the Arjuna, who's totally in tune with Krishna, who is absolutely 100% a conduit for that massive love blasting through the third chakra like a Care Bears out into the world, and we don't even know what's happening. We're just doing our little part right here in this moment, in this breath, in my heart with the beloved. When I put my attention there at that third chakra, and I get all the soul determination and the self-control I need to become master of my senses. And I finally get the energy pulled up from those two lower chakras up into my mastery, and then I offer it into my heart center, because there is where the higher ages really begin. That's where we really start to rock and roll. Okay, let me finish reading though this second principle here of the progressive states of spiritual evolution or spiritual awakening. So we evolve through the four castes, not in the sense of heredity, social status, but in terms of natural stages of soul development described in the Bhagavad Gita. See, we have it tied in. Everything is connected now. Everything is tied in. We just do one little practice, the one I mentioned this morning, and everything just just vibrates through the whole system, integrated system of the gunas, of the chakras, of the caste systems, of the yugas. Did I say gunas instead of yuga? The gunas, the caste system, the chakra system, right? It's just connected with one simple practice. Be here and now, in this moment, in this breath, in my heart with you, my beloved, period. Single-hearted devotion, you go all the way. Do you understand that connection now? Why it's so important? If you want to get overwhelmed again, if you want to slip down and be depressed again today, be thinking of yourself. Forget these higher truths. You don't think you have time to them today. You're too sick, right? You're too worried about this and that. Really? Come on. The slightest little effort brings out God's grace, I promise you. But you have to give that effort, even if you don't have the energy, and everything's falling apart. You still got to make that effort, because that's how you get the grace. Oh, it's Vashya state. Yeah, okay. I should have just read it in the first place. Each human being, through lessons learned in repeated incarnations, progresses from body identification, Sudra, to the cultivation of intellect and wisdom, Vaishya. Yeah, look at that. To the state of spiritual warrior, striving for self-control, Lord of my senses, Arjuna, attack, attack. Attack whatever is a dark side and whatever is a temptation. Let's blast it with the light. Let the God take care of his own creation of light and dark and duality, dream, delusion, and all that. And then the final caste is this Brahmin, which represents the Satya Yuga consciousness, right? And the Kshatriya represents the Treta Yuga consciousness, right? And the Vaishya represents the Dwapara Yuga that we're in right now. We're trying to adhere to principle when there isn't any. Do you get it? Yeah, this is really worth a discussion or two and a continuance, isn't it? This is everything. To me, it's so exciting because you could take a piece of the Yoga Sutra, you could take this from this part of the teachings or someone else's teachings or whatever, little slice of this. But most people get stuck on, ooh, I got my little tight suit on and I'm doing this hatha yoga, but it's still maybe a hook to get people deeper. But it was hard. And my studio is still going. They teach a higher advanced class, but this is the one where we all should be at right here. You know what I'm saying? All right. So to communion with God in meditation, the Brahman. Those are the 5 castes. Isn't that a beautiful way to look at this? Then you don't have to think about it. You don't have to say, I have knowledge about the Gita. Oh, what do you mean knowledge? All I know is that my heart is more in love today, and I'm more aware of the present moment and the importance of just being with God right now, and even dropping whatever is that most important thing I need to be saying or doing or whatever. I can still do it. I could do it with love and joy if I do it with God. But if I don't have God in my heart, that doing becomes hell. It's the devil's playground, Yogananda says. And the daily life on this planet is the devil's playground. That's what happens. You don't have God in your heart. There's only one way to get through this major delusion and debacle we're in. I'll tell you, and that is to have the presence of God in your heart right now. Right now. Right now. The only way. This is discussed, and then this is discussed, and he gives some other lessons. So those forecasts. But I think that's just so brilliant, right? Sudra is the body identification. The Vasha is the cultivation of intellect and wisdom. Without intellect and wisdom, we're going to stay a pretty worldly, material-minded householder, aren't we? Or business person. So we got to awaken that discrimination, right choices, right attitude, and of course that wisdom. There it is, right there, in the observances, in those things that we need to adhere to. Divine Mother, just be in Divine Mother's hug. You'll get the greatest bang for your buck for that caste, and for this Dwapara Yuga, stay in her hug. Never leave her hug, man. I'm telling you, let her take care of this craziness. She knows what's going on. She's the one that's allowing all this duality, dream delusion to go on. All right. And then that spiritual warrior, I love that, Arjuna. And then the Brahmin, the Satya Yuga, right? This Brahmin, the one who's communing with God in consciousness. That's nirvikalpa samadhi, which is whether you're doing your job, raising a family, you still have that, or sapikalpa, where you need to kind of just say, hey, I gotta just be in my little cave right now, and I'll have that supreme consciousness. But the nirvikalpa samadhi is the ultimate samadhi, in communion with God all the time, whatever you're doing, wherever you are, in this body or another one. Then finally, the third progressive state of spiritual awakening or evolution. In addition, this sums up a big section for us right here. In addition, individuals and the human race as a whole evolve through the upward progression of the 4 yugas. See, we talked about caste system. We talked about the coaches or the sheaths, the coverings from rocks all the way to the superhuman, right? To the Superman, Superwoman. Now, in addition, individuals in the human race as a whole evolve through the upward progression of the 4 yugas, the world cycles of civilization. Those, on your mirror goes this quote: Those who practice the esoteric science of evolution, as taught in the lessons on Kriya Yoga, can manifest the qualities of the higher ages within themselves, regardless of the outer era in which they live. Ding, 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 ding. Ding. Right? Those who practice the esoteric science of evolution, as taught in the lessons on Kriya Yoga, our God ecstasy. Get that Kriya Yoga if you're taking these lessons. Come on. Can manifest the qualities of the higher ages within themselves, regardless of the outer era in which they live. Sit back. I just want to gonna let some words of Yogananda come in. We're kind of gonna. I got a few awesome lessons here to share from maybe the rest of the minutes that we have today, and then some next week, maybe one more week, and then we'll. When I say move on, we're not moving on anymore. We're just taking what we have and coming back and reiterating it, looking at it from another angle, from another perspective, right? But we've got so much connection now, so much clarity around what the hell's happening to the most simplest, most powerful root anchor. Anchor yourself in that which is changeless. Beautiful saying. Easier said than done. But that anchor is in just this breath, in this moment, in my heart, with my beloved. As you put your consciousness on the divine consciousness in each one of those chakras, Satya Yuga consciousness. But right here, here and now, here, now, here, now, this breath, Lord. And I got to really connect with you intimately and commune with you right now. Intimate communion and intimate connection right here now. Everything will fall into perfect place. That's like seek God's love first, and everything else will be added onto you. And this is that personal element in your search for truth, says Yogananda, that's more important than mastery over the whole science of yoga. Your personal, intimate relationship with God. That single-hearted devotion to the one will take you all the way. So this is the Way to Immortality, part 1, lesson number 82. I quoted this last week. Sit back, enjoy, receive, breathe, receive, believe, and be. Dimly, slowly, life is fading, but still my soul is marching on. That is the significance of those lines I wrote. No matter how your life changes, still you can feel that the I as the soul, the guardian watchman of all changes, or the immortal witness of all changes. I am the same. No matter how many changes that you still oscillate around today, still you can feel that you, the essence you, the soul you, the guardian watchman of all changes, the blissful watcher, the untouchable, the changeless one. I am the same. In all those changes you have observed, you have preserved your identity. And you can picture that 7 years from now, your experience will be different. But the I who experiences them is yet the same. In all future time, you are going to preserve that same identity. The past, you had the same soul identity, so why worry about the past, right? You didn't do anything wrong. You're an immortal soul. Huh? Oh, you got caught up in God's drama, that's all. And in the future, why worry about that? Because if you're in this moment, you've got the greatest protection. You are perfect shape. If you're in this moment with your whole consciousness and your whole devotion on the beloved, your personal relationship with that beloved is greater than mastery over the whole science of yoga. Okay? Concentrate on past times and experiences you have gone through, then on the circumstances and characteristics that define your present. And then Have this affirmation. Through all past experiences, I have preserved my identity, and I will do so in the future yet to come. I will be the same. I will be the same. All my past, I forever am the same. I was forever the same. And now I'm the same. Soul, baby. This is good news, right? And what's going to happen later? It's still the same. Anchor yourself in that which is changeless. I will be the same. Through all my past experience, I preserve my identity. I'll do so in the future yet to come. I will be the same. In the past and in the unborn eternity yet to come, I am the same. Straight from the Guru's mouth here, kids, from his soul. In the past and in the unborn eternity yet to come, I am the same. That consciousness is the seed of immortality within you. I am the same, which nothing can conquer. How tangible is the truth of your immortality when you realize that? It is a way that you can bring this deep metaphysical truth right into your own consciousness, here and now, and hold it as a permanent foundation of highest realization. That is why you should learn not to concentrate on all this stuff, all the changes. Do not be afraid of changes. Be ever enthroned inwardly in the seat of changelessness, in the consciousness of the immortal self. The soul is an ever-conscious witness of your unbroken existence in many lifetimes. And you're a rock. Your soul is in bliss. So hold your rock, get a little flower, put it there maybe, hold the flower, little flower child, right? And then, look for your plant, and then let's get our animals, our parakeets or whatever, and our doodles and our cats. Let's huddle up and just feel the union you have with that soul in those elements. Those are just thought manifestations of the infinite, man. It is God's consciousness that creates all this seemingly material frozen consciousness of God. What is there? That rock is frozen consciousness, is a rock. God's frozen consciousness. That 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 plant, same thing. The doodles, same thing, right? Yeah. And then the human, when you're in the despicable you part of you, it's the same thing. I've got frozen consciousness as a how many millions of lifetimes as a human, and I haven't gotten the point still. Right? And then this consciousness, then when you have this is who I am. This what we're talking about right now. This is who I am. Then acknowledge that this is who I am. All right. How tangible is that? Is the truth of your immortality when you realize this? When we realize this, how tangible is the truth of our immortality when we realize this? It is a way that you can bring this. There is a way that you can bring this deep metaphysical truth right now into your own consciousness and hold it as a permanent foundation of highest realization. That is why you should learn not to concentrate on the changes. Do not be afraid of changes. Be ever enthroned inwardly on the seat of changelessness, the consciousness of the immortal self. The soul is an ever-conscious witness, your unbroken existence in many lifetimes, even as God's Kutasha Chaitanya, the Krishna or Christ consciousness, is the eternal witness of cosmic creation. Through meditation, you can become conscious of the unchanging I-ness of your being and thus be unaffected by environmental influences and changes. I just have a few more things to read. I read this twice, I think, last week. It's from one of his poems. I swallowed death. All different experiences of the past I drank up, and I shall swallow all changes that are yet to come. Power building, power of your soul building. By the way, the Arjuna center is the power center. That's where all these Qigong masters and all the kung fu expert. That's where they and the samurai get their powers in that power center at your belly button center. That's why the Care Bears did what they were able to do. Now swallow all changes that are yet to come. Bodies may be shattered in death. Kingdoms may be crushed in darkness. The gods themselves may expire in oblivion. But I, the unchangeable witness of the past, of today, of the present, of all future, I am unchangeable. I am unchangeable. I am unchangeable. In me is the seed of immortality. And finally, I really, these are five things that you need to write out when you listen to this recording, or however you're going to get it. This is page 10 of lesson 82. Perpetual rejuvenation, body and soul. This is how we retain the consciousness of immortality. This is how we obtain and sustain and maintain the consciousness of immortality. Number one, by constantly holding the peaceful after effects of meditation in our minds and hearts. Now, if you ain't meditating, it won't matter. This stuff won't matter to you. All the good probably won't matter either. Your evolution, nah, not this life. Won't be happening. So first thing is to hold on to a little nugget, a little light, a little something in your heart that just resonated in your meditation, that gave you a little hope, gave you a little breathing space, took a little grief away from you and worry. Hold that peaceful after effects of meditation in your heart and mind. That's point one. This is how we obtain, maintain, retain, and sustain our ability to hold on to this Satya Yuga consciousness throughout the day, no matter what's happening. Number two, by feeling immortality in the life force in the body. Oh, I feel sicker than a dog today. Man, I'm hungover from last night. Right? You got to really use some creative imagination, intuitive imagination to feel immortality in the life force today. I am immortal. I am unchangeable. I am Shakti, Shakti, cosmic energy, Shakti, Shakti, cosmic energy. Don't you think we need each other now? Huh? With that massage? Just in case our consciousness has slipped. Of course, if it slips too much and you're away for too long, you don't want to be around stuff like this. Heard it once. Yeah, I kind of thought it's kind of cool, but we can't allow that even to come close. So we got to pick each other up, man. We got to nurture each other like I pet those dogs. We got to use our imaginations, and how do we support each other, man? Right? And woman. Gosh. So we got to feel immortality in the life force. That's point two. Point three, by believing in eternal life instead of being hypnotized by the illusory changes of temporal life. Oh, yeah, you could say, I believe in eternal life, but if you're not thinking about it, if you're not needing it desperately today, anything that you really want and need, you're going to get, right? You get more of. Believing in eternal life, all the teachings, all the Gita, everything that we do. You've got notes and binders of notes. Believe, receive it. No, receive it, breathe it, believe it, be it. Receive it, breathe it, believe it, be it. Over and over again in your little here and now, and just this breath in this moment in my heart with my belief. Start there. You can start there. You can hold your consciousness on any one of these states of higher consciousness at will for as long as you wish. Just get that one practice down. This heart, Lord, is yours right now. And I need your love so bad right now. Now, not not going to think about it. I need to really take a breath or two. I need to be still and give it my all. Listening, watching, I poured my heart, Yogananda said in one poem. Listening, watching, felt the presence all around. Listening, watching, I poured my heart. Listening and watching, I poured my heart. Listening, watching, immortal witness. I poured my heart to you, Lord. I know you're here. You're all around me. I know it. I know it. But I don't know it. I believe you. I believe you. I believe it. I believe it. So that was point 3, believing in eternal life instead of being hypnotized by illusory changes, temporal life. Point 4, and by feeling the ocean of immortal bliss, God underlined the changeable waves of perceptions. Point 4, by feeling the ocean of immortal bliss, God. Boy, do you have to have some trust and faith on that one and practice, right? Underlying the changeable waves of all your perceptions today. And then he goes on, but also your perceptions of childhood, youth, and age in this life and in past life. The soul can find not only the perpetual rejuvenation in itself, but also in the body. Just as soon as we find the body is not isolated from spirit, but is composed of a number of rising and falling waves of vibrating currents in the ocean of cosmic consciousness, the perpetual rejuvenation of the spirit can be implanted in our bodies if we so desire. The ocean can help any wave to retain its form if it kept pushing that wave from within its bosom. So we can retain physical youth, fountain of youth, this power of this vitality of the life force within us, right? And this understanding without the shadow of a doubt in our consciousness of the immortality and the eternity of everything by asking. I'm going to leave you with this. We can retain physical youthfulness by asking the unchangeable, everlasting ocean of immortal power. I like to think of the Heavenly Father on this one, or that power center, Arjuna, right? Power of the Krishna. Where there's Krishna, there is victory. And this power of love, the love conqueror. Ask Krishna, you ask who you want to ask. By asking the unchangeable, everlasting ocean of immortal power behind the wave of our mortal form to continue manifesting itself as that vital, youthful form. You obtain, you sustain, you retain. Right? I think there was one other thing I said. You got it. We maintain, we sustain, we retain, and obtain the bliss back. All right. So I think, all right, I want to close up and I'll give you guys, I want to read your comments, okay? So blessings, dear friends. Just let it soak. Let it soak. Make some notes today. Please take many pauses, many breaths. Just a breath. Please, please. I want, maybe we can put something up on our Soul Rebel page that what get some communication going. The massage needs to continue, right? We need to, we are the we, hearts in ecstasy, ecstasy, across the sea, hearts in ecstasy, ecstasy, you and me. God bless you. So many blessings. You're going to have infinite awarenesses coming from this one. But you have to put all of your awareness into it, right? And love. Love you all. Have a beautiful rest of your day and eternity. Namaste.